He told me that 20 years ago, and they still rappers over jewelry.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there goes your answer. So, you know, he just knew. And, you know, and I don't try to toot the man horn every interview I do or, you know, talk about him every interview, but he's a smart guy. And I always give him props because it was a lot of lessons learned from him. Mm-hmm. You know, from his experience being outside at 12 and me coming out at 15.
Tony Yayo shared that when he was presented with his G-Unit chain by 50 Cent, the rap mogul issued a chilling warning, suggesting that others might try to harm him for it. The hip-hop industry has seen its fair share of controversies and legal issues like this, involving rappers and their associates. These incidents often make headlines and become part of the public discourse surrounding the culture. Here are well-known rappers and their deadliest affiliates. Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. Tupac Shakur was a prolific rapper whose career was marked by various legal issues and controversies. One of his most notable associations was with Marion Suge Knight, the co-founder of Death Row Records. Their relationship was central to the narrative of 1990s rap, marked by success and scandal, culminating in Tupac's still unsolved in 1996. Tupac Amaru Shakur, known by his stage name Tupac, was not only a rapper, but also an actor and a social activist. His music, often incisive and poetically charged, dealt with themes such as racial inequality, poverty, and violence, making him a voice for many marginalized by society. Despite his success, Tupac's career was marred by legal issues and conflicts, including a prison term and numerous confrontations with the law and other rappers. Marion Suge Knight co-founded Death Row Records, which became one of the most successful hip-hop labels of the early 1990s, signing artists like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac Shakur. Knight, however, was notorious for his aggressive and often violent approach to business. His reputation for intimidation and alleged connections to street were well documented, and he has been implicated in various criminal activities over the years. Tupac's relationship with Death Row began in 1995 when Suge Knight posted bail for him, amounting to about $1.4 million, under the condition that Tupac signed with Death Row. This partnership led to the release of Tupac's acclaimed album, All Eyes on Me, which has been hailed as one of the most influential hip-hop albums ever. However, this period was also rife with controversy, as it coincided with an intensification of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry, involving other major figures like the notorious B.I.G. and Puff Daddy. On September 7, 1996, after attending a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas, Tupac was shot in a drive-by shooting while he was in a car driven by Suge Knight. He succumbed to his injuries 6 days later.
New this afternoon, we're following updates in the investigation into the 1996 Tupac Shakur. The uncle of Tupac's suspected killer has been indicted on a charge after being arrested this morning in a Las Vegas.
The murder has been the subject of extensive speculation and theories, often involving Knight himself. Despite numerous investigations, the case remains officially unsolved. Over the years, multiple theories have surfaced, including allegations of Knight's involvement either directly or indirectly, though no conclusive evidence has ever been presented in this regard. After Tupac's death, Suge Knight's legal problems continued to mount. He served time on multiple occasions for parole violations and assaults. In 2018, Knight was sentenced to 28 years in prison after pleading no contest to voluntary manslaughter in a 2015 hit-and-run case, which resulted in the death of Terry Carter, a Compton businessman. In a recent interview from prison, Suge Knight broke his silence on the long-standing mystery surrounding of hip-hop icon Tupac Shakur. With a tone of solemn reflection, Knight asserted that what he perceives as justice is finally being served for his late friend and fellow artist. "It's been a long time since I was able to talk freely about Pac because we were so close," Knight reflected. "And the thing is, Pac is finally getting justice. And justice for Pac is not so much somebody getting punished or going to prison. It's the fact that if you was around Pac and you had your hands into trying to destroy him and we got the receipts, it's a problem." Knight's remarks took a candid turn as he delved into the complex web of emotions surrounding jealousy and betrayal that often plague the world of fame and success. "I said this from day one when we first started talking about it. Jealousy is worse than hate. When your name starts ringing, people get jealous of you. You know, if a person hates you, they can be across the street and they can see you. They can see you, you know? These sentiments mark a significant shift from Knight's previous statements, notably his reluctance to see justice served through imprisonment. Addressing his prior remarks, Knight clarified, "Let's get one thing straight. First and foremost, me and Keith played on the same Pop Warner football team. And whatever the circumstances, if he had an involvement with anything, I wouldn't wish somebody going to prison on my worst enemy. Regarding the recent developments in the investigation into Tupac's, Knight dismissed the conclusions reached by authorities, particularly regarding the identity of the shooter. "It wasn't Orlando. That's all I have to say about that," he remarked cryptically, referring to Orlando Anderson, who was previously implicated in the crime and later died in 1998. Knight's candid reflections shed light on the enduring complexities surrounding Tupac's legacy and the quest for closure in the wake of his tragic death. The legacy of Tupac and his association with Suge Knight has left an indelible mark on the culture and history of hip-hop. Tupac is often celebrated as a brilliant but tragic figure, while Knight's legacy is more contentious, seen by many as a cautionary tale of the dangers of unchecked power and alleged criminality in the music industry. 50 Cent and Tony Yayo. 50 Cent, born Curtis Jackson, is a rapper and entrepreneur known for his major impact on the hip-hop industry, particularly in the early 2000s. His breakout album, Get Rich or Die Tryin', propelled him into the spotlight, largely due to its raw narrative and the genuine portrayal of his past life of crime and struggles on the streets of Queens, New York. Tony Yayo, whose real name is Marvin Bernard, is closely affiliated with 50 Cent as a member of the hip-hop group G-Unit, which also includes artists such as Lloyd Banks and Young Buck. Yayo has been both a longtime friend and musical collaborator of 50 Cent. In a recent revelation, Tony Yayo shared a chilling anecdote about the early days of his career with G-Unit Records. According to Tony, when he was handed his G-Unit chain by 50 Cent himself, there was a sobering warning attached.
He told me that 20 years ago, and they still rappers over jewelry.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there goes your answer. So, he just knew. And, and I don't try to toot the man horn every interview I do or, talk about him every interview, but he's a smart guy. And I always give him props because there was a lot of lessons learned from him. Mm-hmm. From his experience being outside at 12 and me coming out at 15.
Tony Yayo has been instrumental in the success of G-Unit, contributing to the group's albums and mixtapes. Yayo's debut solo album, Thoughts of a Predicate Felon, was released in 2005 and achieved notable commercial success, debuting at number 2 on the Billboard 200 chart. The album featured hits like So Seductive, which further cemented Yayo's place in the hip-hop scene. Tony Yayo's career has been marred by legal troubles that began even before his rise to fame. His most notable legal issue occurred in 2003, just as G-Unit was gaining significant momentum. Yayo was sentenced to prison for gun possession, which coincided with the burgeoning success of G-Unit. His incarceration was a significant storyline in the media and within the music they produced, often referenced in the group's lyrics and public statements. In 2007, Yayo faced additional legal issues when he was accused of assaulting the then 14-year-old son of Jimmy Henchman Roseman, a music industry executive and convicted felon. This incident led to an assault charge, which further complicated his career and the public's perception of him. Despite these challenges, Tony Yayo has remained a significant figure in the hip-hop community, particularly within the G-Unit circle. His relationship with 50 Cent has been a mix of both camaraderie and controversy, reflecting both the loyalty and the hardships that come with life in the music industry. 50 Cent has often spoken out in support of Yayo, emphasizing his loyalty and contributions to their collective success. During a recent conversation with Big Boy, 50 Cent openly reflected on the heyday of G-Unit Records and expressed a wish for Tony Yayo's success to have matched his own meteoric rise in the early 2000s. The beauty of how G-Unit worked is, my solo album took off so big that I just brought them with me, 50 reflected. So it was clear that it was me creating the opportunity for everybody else in the crew, but we was all together. I wish it would have been Yayo, because then I could have did all of the business. If he would have been 50 Cent big, then I would have been running the whole thing, he went on. Then it would still be two of us. He'd still be 50 Cent as the artist and out there, and I'd be probably the largest asset to us. These sentiments from 50 come after previous remarks where he took responsibility for the career trajectories of G-Unit artists. In an interview with Houston's 97.9 The Box last summer, he acknowledged criticism directed at him for their perceived shortcomings. Yeah, I get that all the time, 50 shared. What's ill is, when you're in the seat, the driver's seat, a lot of times, no. Every time something goes wrong, it's your fault. If you ask artists why their career didn't go the way they want, it's the fault of the record label. See what I'm saying? He added, I happened to become the record label. So all of those artists that were around and didn't do exactly what they thought they were supposed to do, it's my fault that it didn't. They give it to me individually now, like it's not the company, it's him. Tony Yayo, like many figures in the entertainment industry with a troubled past, exemplifies the complexities of fame, friendship, and the ongoing struggle with one's demons. His story, intertwined with that of 50 Cent and G-Unit, continues to be a point of interest and discussion among fans and critics alike. Bobby Schmurda and GS9. Bobby Schmurda, whose real name is Atquill Pollard, rose to fame rapidly with his hit song Hot N-Word in 2014, which popularized the Shmoney dance. The song went viral, catapulting Schmurda into the spotlight. However, his rise in the music industry was quickly overshadowed by legal issues. Bobby Schmurda grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and was involved in music from a young age. His breakthrough came when Hot N-Word caught the attention of a wide audience, leading to a record deal with Epic Records. The dance he introduced in the video became a cultural phenomenon, being mimicked by celebrities and fans alike. GS9, which stands for G-Stone Crips, is a street gang based in Brooklyn, associated with Schmurda and many of his childhood friends. Members of GS9 appeared with Schmurda in his music videos and were integral to his image and street credibility. However, their involvement in criminal activities would eventually lead to legal consequences. In December 2014, Bobby Schmurda and several members of GS9 were arrested by the NYPD in a high-profile raid at Quad Recording Studios in Manhattan, the same place where Tupac Shakur was infamously shot in 1994. The arrest was the culmination of a long-term investigation, where law enforcement accused Schmurda and his associates of involvement in numerous violent crimes, including shootings and even alleged involvement in conspiracies. Schmurda faced several charges, including conspiracy to commit reckless endangerment and possession. The evidence presented against him included wiretap recordings, where he was allegedly discussing criminal activities. In 2016, Schmurda accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to 7 years in prison, which included the time he had already served awaiting trial. His sentence was based on his guilty plea to fourth-degree conspiracy to commit and second-degree criminal weapons possession. While incarcerated, Schmurda's case garnered a lot of media attention and public support, with calls for his release circulating on social media. He served approximately 6 years before being released on parole in February 2021. His release was celebrated by fans and other artists, indicating his maintained popularity despite his years in prison. Upon his release, Bobby Schmurda attempted to rebuild his music career, maintaining a low profile in terms of legal troubles and focusing on his work and public image. His experience highlighted the intersection of systemic issues, such as gang violence and the criminal justice system's impact on young, Black individuals in inner cities. Bobby Schmurda's story is a complex tapestry of rapid fame, serious legal battles, and a public grappling with the themes of loyalty, justice, and redemption. His ongoing career will likely continue to evolve as he navigates his second chance in both the music industry and life outside of prison. Snoop Dogg and Schmurda. Snoop Dogg emerged from Long Beach, California in the early 1990s as one of the most prominent figures in the burgeoning West Coast hip-hop scene. Discovered by Dr. Dre, Snoop quickly rose to fame with his smooth flow and laid-back demeanor, which contrasted sharply with his often violent and explicit lyrics. His debut album, Doggy Style, 1993, broke records and remains a seminal album in hip-hop history. Despite his success, Snoop Dogg's career has been punctuated by legal issues. Early on, he faced charges related to a murder case, from which he was eventually acquitted. Over the years, he has also faced various and weapon charges, but has largely transformed his image from troubled rapper to a beloved pop culture icon, involved in everything from television to youth football leagues. Schmurda, real name Corey Miller and brother to Percy Master P. Miller, carved out his niche in the hip-hop community with gritty, unapologetic lyrics reflecting the harsh realities of street life. Schmurda's career was closely tied with No Limit Records, a label founded by his brother that played a significant role in popularizing Southern rap. However, Corey Miller's career took a drastic turn in the early 2000s. In 2002, he was convicted of following a nightclub incident in 2000, where a 16-year-old fan named Steve Thomas was Witnesses testified that Miller was the shooter in the incident, which drastically altered the course of his life and career. Miller was sentenced to life imprisonment, and despite various appeals and claims of a flawed and unjust trial, including recanted testimonies and allegations of juror misconduct, he remains incarcerated, and his case has become a touchstone in debates over the criminal justice system's treatment of African-American men. Schmurda's conviction has been contentious, and the subject of much debate. His legal team has made numerous attempts to overturn the conviction, citing issues such as prosecutorial misconduct, withheld evidence, and juror pressure. In 2018, 2 key witnesses recanted their testimonies, claiming they had been pressured by law enforcement to testify against Miller. Despite these developments, his appeals for a retrial have been denied, and he continues to serve a life sentence at the Louisiana State Penitentiary. While both artists come from the broader hip-hop community, their direct personal association is more through the shared experiences and mutual connections in the industry, particularly through Snoop's connections with Master P and No Limit Records during his brief stint with the label. Snoop Dogg has publicly supported Schmurda, advocating for his release and supporting his claims of innocence. The stories of Snoop Dogg and Schmurda reflect broader themes in hip-hop and American society, including systemic issues within the criminal justice system, the impact of fame, and the role of artists in reflecting and shaping the discourse around these issues. Their careers highlight both the potential for transcendence and transformation, and the deep-seated challenges that can stymie even the most successful individuals. Jay-Z and DeHaven. Jay-Z, born Sean Carter, is a prominent figure in the music industry, known not only for his extensive catalog of influential hip-hop music, but also for his business acumen and philanthropic efforts. His journey from the streets of Brooklyn to becoming a billionaire mogul is often referenced in his music, where he candidly discusses his past, including his relationships and early life struggles. DeHaven Irby, often just referred to as DeHaven in Jay-Z's songs, was a childhood friend of Jay-Z, growing up together in the Marcy Projects in Brooklyn, New York. In their youth, both were reportedly involved in the trade, a common theme in Jay-Z's lyrical narratives, where he frequently mentions his past life dealing before making it big in the music industry. As Jay-Z's career transitioned from the streets to the studio, his life took a markedly different direction from DeHaven's. Jay-Z's references to DeHaven in his lyrics have often been tinged with a sense of betrayal and disappointment, suggesting a deep rift formed between them. In songs like No Hook on his American Gang, Jay-Z raps about the falling out, implying that while he moved on to legitimate business, DeHaven remained in the life they were supposed to leave behind. DeHaven has publicly responded to the way Jay-Z portrays their past and his character in his music. In interviews and his own YouTube series, DeHaven has contested Jay-Z's version of events, arguing that his portrayal in the music is skewed and doesn't fully acknowledge the depth of their former partnership or his own role in their early life. DeHaven feels that Jay-Z's lyrics unfairly paint him in a negative light, potentially as a betrayal for dramatic effect in his music. As of the last updates, DeHaven and Jay-Z have not reconciled, and their relationship remains estranged. Jay-Z rarely mentions DeHaven in recent years, focusing instead on his music, business ventures like Roc Nation, and his family life with Beyoncé and their children. DeHaven, meanwhile, appears to have taken a path more focused on personal advocacy and telling his side of the story, maintaining a presence that is somewhat critical of the narratives popularized by mainstream media and Jay-Z's music. In what seems like a revelation-filled verse on Drake's latest album, Certified Lover Boy, Jay-Z may have finally spilled some long-overdue tea on the long-standing beef between him and former Rockefeller associate and bestie, DeHaven Irby. Just wanted to me and y'all still with him. N-word, y'all chill with him, and y'all wonder why we not friends, rapped Jay-Z, raising eyebrows with his candid lyrics. Responding to Jay-Z's verse, Irby took to his Instagram to shed light on the rift between the two men, recalling a pivotal moment that severed their relationship. I could recall one of the worst positions that Jay put me in, that severed our relationship and our friendship. I had got locked up on a parole violation, and when I was locked up, Jay just pulled a funny-ass move, and he violated. And he did that and went behind my back. He got caught. It was some small but it meant something because his life almost got took behind that. In a candid 2007 interview with Vulture, Irby had already hinted at discrepancies between Jay-Z's public persona and reality, suggesting that much of the life Jay-Z rapped about wasn't entirely true. He insinuated that Jay-Z's portrayal of himself as a kingpin was exaggerated, stating he nickeled and dimed, but nothing on a major scale. He definitely didn't sell nothing in Marcy. Spanish Jose, who he mentions a lot in his songs, was a friend of mine. Jay didn't have no affiliation to Spanish Jose. Furthermore, Irby claimed that Jay-Z had appropriated aspects of his life for his music, stating, "He's been talking about me since day one on a lot of his albums. He mentioned me on The Black Album, and I hadn't seen him in years." In a separate interview with Moguldom, Irby criticized Jay-Z for allegedly abandoning him in 1998 when Irby faced federal charges. Despite Irby's public statements, Jay-Z has yet to respond to these allegations. The story of Jay-Z and DeHaven is a poignant example of how early relationships can diverge dramatically as individuals' paths evolve. It also underscores the complexity of personal histories within the context of celebrity and success, where past associations often become fodder for public and artistic discourse. Chief Keef and Lil Reese. Chief Keef, born Keith Farrell Cozart, emerged from the south side of Chicago to become one of the most influential figures in the drill music scene. His raw lyrical content and gritty portrayals of street life gained widespread attention with his hit song, I Don't Like, in 2012, which was later remixed by Kanye West, boosting Keef's profile. However, his rise to fame was shadowed by legal troubles. Even as a teenager, Chief Keef faced numerous charges, including gun possession and offenses. His legal issues seem to parallel the violent and troubled narrative that his music often depicted. Lil Reese, born Tavares Taylor, also hails from Chicago and is closely associated with Chief Keef. Reese was featured on I Don't Like, which contributed to his rise in the drill music scene. Like Chief Keef, Lil Reese's career has been marred by his legal issues, including charges related to firearms and allegations of violence. His style and lyrics, similar to Chief Keef's, often reflect the harsh realities of life in some of Chicago's most troubled neighborhoods. Chief Keef's legal journey has been a tumultuous one, marked by a series of high-profile incidents that have thrust him into the spotlight for both his music and his legal troubles. From a young age, Keef found himself entangled in the criminal justice system, with gun charges being a recurring theme in his legal battles. One notable incident involved his arrest for allegedly pointing a gun at a police officer, a serious offense that resulted in Keef being placed under house arrest, restricting his movements and impacting his ability to pursue his music career freely. Despite efforts to comply with legal stipulations, Keef found himself in hot water again when a seemingly innocent act, a visit to a gun range filmed for a music video, violated the terms of his parole, leading to a brief stint behind bars. These probation violations only added to the complexities of Keef's legal saga, further cementing his reputation as a controversial figure within the hip-hop community. However, Keef's legal troubles extended beyond gun charges, encompassing related arrests and other misdemeanors that continued to cast a shadow over his public persona and career trajectory. These ongoing legal battles not only garnered attention from the media, but also shaped the narrative surrounding Keef, influencing how he was perceived by fans and industry insiders alike. Similarly, fellow drill rapper Lil Reese has also faced his fair share of legal and violent encounters, further adding to the gritty allure of the drill scene. Reese's involvement in gun-related arrests and violent incidents has been highly publicized, drawing attention to the dangerous realities of street life in Chicago. One particularly harrowing incident saw Reese being shot in the neck during a confrontation in a suburb of Chicago, underscoring the pervasive violence that has become synonymous with the drill scene and its key figures. Despite the severity of the attack, Reese managed to survive, but the incident served as a stark reminder of the dangers inherent in his lifestyle. Throughout the media coverage of Reese's violent encounters and legal issues, his reputation has been mired in controversy, overshadowing his music career at times. Despite his undeniable talent as a rapper, Reese's tumultuous personal life and run-ins with the law have often taken center stage, perpetuating a narrative of violence and turmoil that continues to define his public image. Both Chief Keef and Lil Reese have significantly impacted the hip-hop genre, particularly the drill subgenre, which is characterized by its dark, violent, and nihilistic content about urban strife. Drill music has been both criticized and studied for its raw depiction of life in marginalized communities and its influence on youth culture. The genre has also been credited with giving voice to a generation that has been disproportionately affected by violence and poverty. Their work has opened up dialogues about the role of art in reflecting societal issues versus glorifying them. Despite their legal and personal battles, both artists have maintained a strong fan base and influenced a wide array of artists within and outside of hip-hop. These cases illustrate the complex and sometimes troubled connections between personal histories, legal issues, and artistic expression in the hip-hop community. Each story provides insight into the challenges faced by individuals in the spotlight and the often harsh realities of their environments. That's a wrap on the video. If you enjoyed it, check out one of these boxes too. I'll catch you on the next one.